KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan, and there is no time to waste because right now we have Dallas Cowboys COO Stephen Jones on the show. Sir, how are you doing today?
Doing really good. Just having a good Monday. Had a good crisp practice this morning and thought we did a good job out there and making a lot of progress.
Now, we talked with Jerry on Friday to kick off the season of visits, and he says he would like to shake things up a little bit in our interviews and put a new twist on it. Would you also like to do that, and do you have any suggestions?
I'm open to anything, but I'd have to know what it is before I'm ready to do it.
Sure. I mean, if you want to ask us questions, we got a whole bunch of suggestions we can do along the way. Now, one of the things I was impressed with was in the Welcome to Training Camp press conference, you said, we're in the talent acquisition business 365 days a year. And then like immediately after that, y'all picked up Everson Griffen. Are there any other exciting available defensive players that we might be able to pick up on the horizon?
Well, just as we didn't talk about Everson until it was done, that we found that works much better for us. So, as I said, we're in it 365 days a year, and we're always looking to get better. But it obviously is not very productive for us to talk about anything, that we might be in the works on because it can only work against you.
How much, Stephen, does the fit with your team matter whenever you're making those kinds of additions? Because Griffin's he was a clutch signing, and he looks like he's fit in right away.
Yeah, I think all that goes into it. Whenever we evaluate a player, we look at the full body of work, and obviously we had the disappointment there for Gerald and with Gerald in terms of his injury, but we were very aware of it and obviously addressed it, but also knew there was risk there. But whether it's medical, whether it's chemistry and culture on our football team, off the field, on the field, and then ultimately the tape in terms of, how's that player played as of, late, then it all goes into the equation in the mix as to how you ultimately decide, do you want to go after that player? And if so, what are you willing to do in terms of the resources, the money, and, how's it going to help us win?
So, Stephen, when it comes to Aldon Smith, since you're talking Everson Griffen, I've been kind of saying, look, he hasn't played football in a while. It's going to take time and maybe 3 games, maybe 8 games until maybe he makes an impact on the Dallas Cowboys. But Dak Prescott has said, my gosh, he looks unbelievable. And Jerry Jones has said the same thing. Should I change my expectations on what Aldon Smith can do in week 1 through 8 in this NFL season?
Well, I think your assumption's probably the safer one. In terms of how you look at a player who hadn't played in a couple plus years, that's usually the way it goes. But you always have those exceptions, and you always, one of this, and Jerry's big on this is the upside, and certainly Aldon has that. He was one of the great pass rushers in the league there in San Francisco, and had some great years. So you just every player can be different in terms of, what kind of work have they put into getting ready for the upcoming season, especially in a year like this year when you've had no competitive off-season programs. No one's been able to have it. They've all had to do their work on their own, study virtually, all those type of things. So there's a lot of moving parts that you got to figure in this thing. But, I have to agree with Dak and Jerry, boy, he looks like he's quite a bit ahead of schedule at this point.
Are there any other players, I guess, especially defensively, because we've heard some really glowing reviews about Aldon Smith as well. And, I know a lot of Cowboys fans are concerned about the defense. Are there any other players that at least early on you've been like, whoo, look at him?
Well, I'd put Leighton in that same deal with Jalen. Obviously they had that they kind of, if you would, the sophomore didn't quite play as well as they did the year before, but they've both come back and really making plays and have us really fired up, both Leighton and Jalen. And then, the other one that is really which we need more than ever now, but he certainly answered the bell, is Tristan Hill. Has really shown up in practice and consistent and just doing a great job for us. Sometimes it's just hard on rookies, and they, what they have to go through to get on the field. Some are able to get it done and digest it and do it, but Rod can give them some tough love, and sometimes some players don't respond as well to the tough love. I know he was inactive some, and was limited on his play time when he was active, but boy, he has really come along, and certainly with Gerald going down, has really stepped into that role, and so far has just been put one really good practice after the other the last few days.
And I'm glad that you brought up Gerald McCoy. I understand that you never want an injury, but I was fascinated by the idea of, whether it's Tristan Hill, whether it's, Neville Gallimore or anybody else that you want to throw into the mix there, how much of maybe a blessing in disguise in terms of the youth movement or in terms of looking forward, the Gerald McCoy injury in the long run could turn out to be, even though in the short term it hurts.
No question. I think you're right on it. It's something we've talked about here internally when you got guys like Tristan and Neville that, when you put second and third round picks, your expectations are that they're ultimately starters for you. I mean, that's, it might not happen day one, but certainly second and third rounders, our definitions are they ultimately start for you. So, getting these guys, Neville's, of course, a rookie, so it's a bigger learning curve for him, moving up into the, moving into the NFL and all the moving parts that come with that. But he's doing a great job out there as well. But certainly you can see Tristan really, taking the reins and running with it, if you will. And then, of course, it's always great to have a guy like Tyron Crawford, who just is a leader. He's he's amazing on and off the field, and he's got such versatility. He certainly swings down in there in the interior on nickel, and I think he's just going to do a great job for us this year. So, I think, when you start talking about Jalen and you start talking about Leighton and you talk about that defensive line group, you mentioned Griffin. I mean, it's a solid group, and got Poe back in the mix the last couple of days, and he certainly worked his tail off to get where he's ready to roll. And we're just real pleased with our front seven, and certainly we think there's some really good players in the back end back there. We just got to continue to develop them, and a lot of we got some corners back there with some good NFL experience. When you throw Worley in, with Cheeto and AB and Jordan Lewis, and then of course another high draft pick we got there in Diggs. You have high expectations for him, and he's certainly showing why he was so well thought of coming out of college. So we've got a great group of corners back there as usual, and as I say, it shouldn't be a surprise because it's got the least amount of resources committed to it is the safety position. We don't really have any high draft picks, and we don't have any high-paid players. So certainly we've got to continue to work in that area, and that's what we'll do.
Least amount of resources committed for now, or?
Good try, guys.
All right, I had to. I hope you respect I had to give it a shot.
Dallas Cowboys COO Stephen Jones joining us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. Now, Stephen, you told me around, I think, the holiday time that whenever the new coach came in, you needed a coach that kind of had established an element of fear and established an element of respect. I'm kind of curious, in watching McCarthy and how he's gone through this, have you seen that kind of response from the players, and what kind of imprint has he put on this team?
You just can tell he's a ball coach. I mean, obviously his record speaks for itself. Super Bowl champion, I think three plus. Been in championship games playing to get in the Super Bowl. I mean, this guy's been a proven winner. We were just so fortunate that he happened to be out there. He'd sat out a year, and, man, it's just, everything's better than we even thought it would be. It's better than advertised. And, boy, from what I can see and what I'm hearing, in the locker room, that the players just really have responded well to him, have nothing but respect for him. And I just think he could be a huge, huge difference in this team taking the next step.
Stephen Jones joining us on 105.3 The Fan. Stephen, I know after the draft was over, McCarthy was really excited about Biotic, the center from Wisconsin. I was wondering, without having the preseason and a limited training camp, Joe Looney is starting from what I understand right now at center. Is Biotic competing right now for the starting center spot, or is that Joe Looney's spot going into the season?
Oh, no, I think he's competing for it, and he's getting better every day. And, obviously with this with this unprecedented off season, we had some thoughts of maybe working some other guys in there at center as well to see who our best 5 guys are. But, with these guys, with Connor Williams coming off a major injury and, not being able to do as much, and, Connor McGovern really trying to zero in and learn the guard spot, we weren't really able to, to see some of that as you'd like to normally. But certainly Biotic is going to push Joe Looney and compete, and we'll see where that ends up.
If he were to get the starting spot, would you approve of our nickname of him? We've come to call him Tyler Badass. Would you support that nickname?
Absolutely. I don't see any reason why I couldn't go with that. Now, I will say this. I mean, Joe Looney is special. I mean, as a teammate, as a culture builder, I mean, he's something. And don't ever discount Joe Looney. But, that's why we wanted to have him back. But as you said, Tyler Badass is going to give him fits.
I'm so happy that you just said that, and we will work on a cool nickname for Joe Looney. And then
he's got a lot of them. If you go do your homework, you'll find that he's got plenty.
Awesome. And maybe the new twist, we can get to know you more personally. Like, for example, what is your favorite movie?
Mine would probably be, it is Gladiator.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Yeah, that's a great choice. All right. Well, maybe
I'm a big family guy and father guy, and I just thought that movie was amazing.
Yeah. No, that was absolutely a fantastic movie. Well, we appreciate you jumping on with us and get this started again every single week. And then obviously, if any interesting transpirings happen, we will love to talk with you again really soon.
Well, I look forward to our year together, and if you got any new twists you'd like to throw at it, I'm always open-minded.
Awesome.
I like it.
Cowboys COO Stephen Jones. Thanks again, good sir.